Hi there, everyone. This is Workshop Wednesday. The day is 4th of May. The time is 8 o'clock, which means only one thing, as you can see. There's very little light, and the reason for that is that it's load shedding. No fix necessary for this. All right. So this puts a little bit of a monkey wrench in the works, or a span in the works. This means that I can't do any practice or get myself ready for the guitar part of this of this week on a Wednesday. So the only thing that I think I can do is to postpone it to tomorrow. So it'll be more of a workshop Thursday, which is fine. I could use a day off. So what will happen is that the next scene will be me doing everything that needs to be done on Thursday. So it won't be technically a Wednesday for this part. But it is what it is. So thank you, ESCOM, for the load shedding. Means that I can rest a little bit easier. But I'll do a few things here and there. So I will see you tomorrow. Right, guys. So it's Thursday. It looks like we have electricity for a while, so we're going to do the guitar practicing part. So what that entails is I'm going to work out the guitar bit for IC5, specifically the sort of like the lead picking bit that happens for the intro, and then also between the first verse and the second verse, which is my primary concern because these digits over here, these ones, they tend to not work as well as I wish they would. And that is just because it's not necessarily muscle memory, but the fact that I don't practice as much as I should. I really should get back into the bandwagon when it comes to practicing. But this one is going to be a challenge. What definitely will challenge me is the fact that I need to do hammer-ons and pull-offs, and then the correct digit needs to be in the right place. I can see that that is going to be an issue, but we're gonna have to work at it. Okay, which is one of those things. So I'm doubtful that I'll be doing any recording tonight. It'll just be more, practicing and practicing and practicing. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to time lapse the practice so you can see how much time I have to play this jolly thing over and over again, which is I think very important when it comes to these kind of things. I definitely cannot make it as perfect as Ed Sheeran does it. However, I want to try and get it as close to the original as possible, keys taking into account. So that will mean that it's going to take a while, but I don't mind putting the effort into it. And I think that's probably one of the things that I want to speak to you about tonight is that, or this Wednesday, or Thursday, is that, we look at YouTube and Instagram and all those places that advertise, lessons that they say, in 10 lessons, you'll be able to master the guitar and all of that. And look, there are two schools of thought. There's one school of thought is that, once you play, a few chords and you can play practically any song, which is a half truth. I mean, you can, but it's not going to be like the original and it's not going to be like absolutely perfect. However, if you want to make it, near perfect or near like what the song really is or the original, then you have to put the time in, and that is hours and hours of playing. And you know what? At first, you're not going to you're not going to get it. It's going to be like, you know, it'll challenge your mind. It'll challenge your resolve. There have been a lot of times, especially when I first started, when, I wanted to give up because, it was, it was tough. A lot of the things that that I watched and wanted to do, I tried doing, like for bass, for example, slap bass. I mean, I love slap bass, tap bass as well. But it is a skill that you need to learn, and it is a tough one. No matter how many times people say that it's easy, you still have to put the time in. Now, I heard a saying once that in order to master something, you need to put 10 hours into it or practice it 10,000 times. So I'm hoping that I can get this riff, less than 10,000 times. It might sound like 10,000 times, but I want to get it as near perfect. And when it comes to recording, it lasts. So if there's a mistake on there, that mistake stays there. It's not like when you're performing in front of people, if you make a mistake, they're going to forget it because they don't know what. When it comes to a recording, it's sort of lost. So I want to try and get it as perfect as possible. So my advice to you whenever you're looking at things like this is to adopt that saying, practice makes perfect. But not only practice makes perfect, persistence makes perfect. You need to be persistent. You need to follow through, because if you don't follow through with these kind of things, you know think of it as a skill, a lifelong skill that you learn, because if you're persistent at it, the more you're going to want to you know work on it and be perfect at it. And it takes time, it takes effort, it is unfortunately one of those things. You have to develop it. So if I can give you any advice, add the effort, do what needs to be done, especially if you have a passion for it. If you have a passion for it, then these kind of things is something that you want to do anyway. So that's my advice to you guys. But this not only translates to music, it translates to anything that you want to do in life. Be persistent. Practice makes perfect. Persistence makes perfect. That is the only way that one can really do great, instead of just like doing blasé or average. In maths, it's the same thing. You have to practice. English, you need to practice. You can see that I'm trying to be as persistent as possible. So, hopefully it works. So let's get into the practicing part over there. But I'm going to show you, what the riff is, and then, work from there. So hopefully you enjoy it, and I'll see you now. Okay, after listening to um, the guitar line a little bit, I think I figured out how to play it. Also, I did a little bit of cheating and checked some tutorials as well. So the lick for Icy Fire, the challenging part is quite simple, yet difficult at the same time. Especially finger placement. One of the things that sometimes I struggle with is making sure that the fingers are in the right place. So I'll go through the line, step by step, in case anybody wants to try and do it. But then after that, we will time lapse to see how far I get during this practice. To get this down. After that, we'll then move it to the key that I want to do it in. So basically, basically the whole the chords for the for that line is E minor, C, D, E minor. Okay, but it's all the licks and the pull-offs and hammer-ons. So what happens is that we put the finger over here on the G over here. Then what happens is we play the open notes right at the top, so it goes like this. Then it hammers on 2 frets up on that G, so it goes like this, right? Then which is the struggle that I'm going to have, or part one of the struggles, are pull-offs. I'm very good at hammering on, but then when it comes to pulling off, it's a bit weaker. So it sounds like this. And then I have to pull off with my index like that. So the first part goes C. Alright, then one string up, I need to change to the middle finger and then play. That's the D string. So you play D, hammer on. Then moving my fingers around, I play like a C, but this one over here I sort of hammer on like that. And then the next part is I go to D, which is more of a D second. I hammer on with this one. And I use these three strings over here. And then for E minor, it's just these three strings over here. And then it does it again. I must remember not to play this E string when I'm doing this. Okay. All right, so that's the lick for this part over here. Then for the rest of the song, it's quite easy. It's more picking with a little bit of percussion. So it goes. You should all burn together. Raise a glass of wine for the last time. A minor. Calling out for the rope. Watch the. Now this is a B minor, but it's not a bar chord B minor. See, so you're getting this like an ethereal type of B minor. I like this one because when you play other songs that are in this type of minor, it sounds like this. Digressing. All right, so now time for the time lapse. Oh yeah, and then wash up and then a C. This is more of a, it's like a C2, but you're not adding the 2 over there. You're actually leaving this note out, and then you hammer on over here with this. So I hope that makes sense to a lot of you. So, all right, so now it's time for the time lapse. I'm going to see how long it's going to take before I can actually get this, the riff sorted out. All right, let's go for it. So I've tried putting the riff together. The problem's still the fact that it's a bit sloppy. My fingers don't seem to want to do what needs to be done. So it's going to take a lot of practice. But um, you know, a person once said that you have to do it 10,000 times in order to really master it. Well, I'm trying to do it that I don't mess up 10,000 times. So I think this next part I'm going to actually move it down so I can see how it sounds. So I'm moving it to capo 4, doing the same thing. Sounds good. Now the only other thing about this is because I'm moving it down, it sort of adjusts the tension of the string, so it's slightly floppier, and you wouldn't think that there would be much of a difference, but to be quite honest, there is. So it's going to take another time lapse, for this part over here. So let's give it a whirl. Now, the other thing that I need to also look at is the metronome. So I'm going to have to play according to a metronome as well in order to get this whole thing sorted. It's clear to me that I won't be able to record this tonight on Wednesday, and it looks like I'm going to have to practice. So I think what I'm going to do is that every time that I practice, I'll do a time lapse, and I'll tell you which day I'm practicing on as well to see if there's any progress, almost like a daily thing. So you might find that this recording is not exactly a workshop Wednesday anymore, but more of a persistence to practice type thing. All right, which I've already covered before we started this. Practice makes perfect. Persistence makes perfect. Obviously you can't make it a perfect thing, but at least you can get it as far as you can. But anyway, let's continue with the time lapse. See, I haven't even got to that part yet. Okay, so this is going to be something that I have to go through day by day, and I'm going to have to persistently play it. So doing this, I'm going to have to do over and over again until I can get it as near perfect as I can, because there are a few hiccups that I can hear. My pull-offs, this is still a problem, and putting the middle finger over here is still something I must remember. I'm must go. So I'm probably going to have to pick this one. So it's going to have to sound like this. All right, so I'm going to have to work on that one. It is what it is. So tomorrow we'll go through a few, some of it, Saturday, Sunday, and hopefully by next Wednesday I'll be able to record the guitar bit for this part. And then probably the bass bit, it all depends. It's, like I said, it's going to be a process. All right. Yeah, so as you can see, it took quite a bit of a while. I think I was practicing this for about an hour now, and it's sort of getting there, but I'm not too happy with it still. So that means that tomorrow I'm going to practice it for hopefully an hour if I can find some time. Saturday I'm going to do the same thing. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then hopefully on Wednesday we'll get to record it or do something with it. So this will not only be a time lapse for this Thursday. Those practices I will record so you can see the process behind it. So I hope you like these time lapse things. I'll try and also stop it here and there so you can see that you know, I'm not just chipboing the system and just making you think that I'm getting it. So with that being said, you know, on to tomorrow, and let's see if I can get it. Right, we're going to practice Icy Fire riff. You'll have noticed that I'm only getting to it now and it's Monday. The reason being, unfortunately, I had to deal with a rain issue. So unfortunately, it was one of those things where I had to even wait, you know, for Sunday for it to sort of like get more partially dry. So to be quite honest, I doubt that we'll be recording on Wednesday. So I think the big change that we'll have is that we will look at the other instrument bits. So I'm thinking we'll look at the rest, like the electric lead bit that will substitute for the violin, and then the bass bit, which I think I'm going to go for the fretless during the acoustic parts, or the acoustic bass. We'll have to see. And then after that, you know, I'll probably do the recording on for all the pieces on Saturday. Then you don't see, you know, that kind of process that I'll go. I'll probably do a little clip of the, you know, mic position and all of that. So hopefully this will help you out nicely. So we're going to do another time lapse for this part where I practice doing the So we'll see if that works. It'll probably take an hour or two just to practice this part of here. But what we'll do is we'll just take it as it comes. I'm going to move this a little bit so you can see the fretboard part. So yeah, let's go for it. I think I got it. But just to be sure, let's go on to the 6th fret and see how it sounds in the original key. Well, let's see what happens when I actually record it sometime. All right, with that being said, take care, guys, and I'll see you next time.